of our Zoom meetings on Moodle. And, for people who might miss today's presentation or one of the presentations, or if you just simply want to go back and revisit the conversation. Harlan will also, the other thing that we're going to be doing at the end of this workshop, we will be posting a survey. So we're kind of shifting how we're doing evaluations. We would like to gather these evaluations before you leave the online event. And so Harlan will be posting the link to a SurveyMonkey survey for today in the chat box, and I'll also include it on a slide at the end of our session today. And so with that, I'm going to jump into a brief orientation of Zoom and just move through some slides on basic functions in Zoom. If you would like more in-depth training on this, please reach out to Harlan or myself, and we'd be happy to set up additional time to work with you or your team on using Zoom and some of the features that it encapsulates. To use Zoom, it's best to have a computer with a built-in camera and microphone. However, it is possible to participate with audio only by using the call number on the Zoom invite. This is what a Zoom invite will look like. I've highlighted the URL link in the and passcode in yellow. All you need to do is to click on that link and enter the passcode when prompted. To join by telephone, you can select one of the numbers below and enter the web ID or passcode as prompted once you call in. When you join the session, you're going to see this screen, or you may see this screen, and just click on the test audio link to check to see how your audio is working. Sometimes it's recommended to wear headphones to avoid static and annoying feedback loops. You don't have to, but it's a recommendation. If you don't have a microphone on your computer or have limited bandwidth or just prefer the audio on your phone, you can select the arrow next to the microphone icon in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. And that's right down here. And you would check on that little box. This would pop up and you would select this here, switch to phone audio, and it would give you phone numbers, the meeting ID, and participant ID to dial in with your phone. You'll still be able to see the screen, but you will just be using your phone for the audio portion. So this is the Zoom menu bar, and it appears at the bottom of your screen. And we'll offer most of the functions that you'll be using for a Zoom meeting, and we'll cover some of those in the next few minutes. To mute or unmute your audio, you have this icon in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, and you just click it on or off, and that will either mute or unmute your audio. You can also just press and hold your space key to temporarily unmute yourself. You may be asked to mute your microphone for the presentation in order to eliminate feedback noise, but we really want to see your smiling faces and encourage everyone to share your video. So right here, keep this one open if you can. Speaking of which, in the top right-hand corner of your screen, you can select how you want to see the speaker and participants in the meeting. The method that I would recommend is the speaker view. This will enlarge the frame of the person talking while keeping the rest of the participants in a thumbnail view. Feel free to play around with those settings. It only changes how you see others. It isn't going to affect the presentation itself. When in screen sharing mode, you will, there may be times where you're asked to share your screen. Not today, but probably during the kickoffs when you'll be giving out team reports, you're going to want to know how to use this function. When in screen sharing mode, you will see a pop-up bar on the top of the screen. This is where you can control the screen sharing functions. So if you are sharing a screen and you need to get out, all you need to do is click the stop share button. Participants can also access the annotate function in screen share mode. And that's this button right here that's circled. This allows participants to write or color, highlight, stamp, and other features to actively mark up a presentation or a whiteboard. And we are going to practice that on the next screen. So at the top of your screen, find the annotate button. It'll be right here. And open it. Select an option from stamp, and you'll see there's 6 different little characters, and pick your favorite one. And mark 2 answers to the question, which one of the following methods would you choose to become a millionaire? And mark 2 of those that best describe your preferred way of becoming a millionaire. And we'll give you about 30 seconds to do this.
I'm sorry, I'm not finding the annotate thing.
So if you go up to the top of the screen, where you have all the features for screen sharing.
I don't have any features for screen sharing showing.
Try rolling your mouse over the top of your screen.
Yeah, I am. Sometimes I wonder if it's the platform.
And I don't have them on a phone either.
It may say view options.
Yep.
I don't have it either.
If you're in full screen, if you're in full screen view mode, it won't pop down for you. Bill is correct. If you select view options, that should provide some menu items for you. If you're on the phone, I'm not sure what. If you're on the phone, do you have access to? Are you just on the phone for audio, or are you following along on the computer as well?
I've had to move to the phone because when I use the computer, the audio of the speakers fades in, out, goes off. Additionally, the screen, if I leave mine up, others pop in and out. So I don't know if it's a communication channel issue here or what's up, but my phone is my only option at this point.
Gotcha. Why don't we connect some other time and we can do some, I can help you out one-on-one if you'd like.
I'd love that. I think it's a regional issue.
Got it. Thank you, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we'll move on with that. And it looks like people finding buried treasure in their backyard is the favorite way of becoming a millionaire. If only it were that easy. We also have a chat feature. Whoops, sorry, I gotta clear this off. Okay, we also have a chat feature that everybody has access to, unless you're strictly using the phone. You can send out a comment to everyone in the meeting or to a specific person. You'll find that feature on the Zoom menu bar, once again, at the lower, on the bottom of your screen. If you have a question for Victoria today, or other folks that are attending the session, please send that out to everyone in the meeting. If it's a technological issue that you're having and you need help from Harlan, please send your chat directly to Harlan. We have a few more pages, some next slides that cover troubleshooting, and I'm just going to kind of go through these very quickly. We are running low on time, and I want to have Victoria, give Victoria as much time as needed for the activities and for her presentation. Again, if you have some troubleshooting that you need help with, please reach out to Harlan and he would be happy to help you through these things. There's a lot of different functions, varieties of settings on Zoom that you can use. Here's an example of increasing or decreasing your volume, which can also help with sensitivity issues and feedback loops. Just a few more tips that seem rather obvious, but you'd be surprised at how many people leave a piece of tape or a sticky note on their camera and don't realize why they don't show up in their video. Also, please remember you're all on camera. I'm sure you've all seen videos of failed Zooms calls. And with that, I would like to introduce Victoria McWane and turn the screen over to her. Victoria, you can take it away.
Thank you so much, Barbara, and for that lovely tutorial on Zoom. I wish I had had something like that when I first started using Zoom. That would have been nice. Did you record this? Yes. For future reference. That's beautiful. Let's see if I can share my screen here and talk at the same time. I am so thrilled to be here with you all. Virtual is as good to me as in person when it comes down to getting together. So if y'all will bear with me, apparently I can't do those two things at the same time. So I'm going to stop talking and actually share my screen. And hopefully you all are seeing a PowerPoint. Yeah, phenomenal. So a little bit about me before we get too far in there, like why is this woman here talking about collaboration and what about, you know, racial equity and diversity and inclusion and what does that have to do with anything? And I will just give you a little bit of background on my journey to this place. My previous job, I worked at a college in housing and residential life. And the students that I worked with in the small community of Fergus Falls were coming from all over the nation because we offered athletics and we offered dorms for them to live in. And so we attracted people from all over the United States to come to Fergus Falls at M State. And a good portion of those students are in Black and brown bodies. In fact, 22% of the campus population was Black and brown, and in a community where less than 1% is Black and brown. And then when you look at housing specifically, almost 40% of those students who chose to live on campus were in Black and brown bodies. And so they were having some experiences both on and off campus that made it, while not my job, the work that I was needing to do, talking about racial equity, diversity, and inclusion, and what that means for our community if we're going to be inviting folks here to attend our school and to come and pay their money to in our organizations and in our retailers, then perhaps we ought to think about what it means to be a welcoming community and not just slap up a sign that says, hey, welcome everybody, because that doesn't quite work as much as we would hope it would. So I had to lean into this work in order to do my job, even though that wasn't my job to do. It's really our community's job. And I fortunately found some collaborators who were willing to get their hands dirty with me, to say some of the things that needed to be said, to invite to the table people who needed to be at the table, and to figure out how we were going to move forward together to create the community that we all were saying we wanted to live in. And that's one where everybody felt like they could fully participate and fully contribute. And that was going to take some work on our end to get to a place where we could, one, have those conversations, and two, make those shifts in how we behave and engage in our policies, our practices, and our procedures when it comes to intercultural engagement and competency. And so we had to do some skill building in order to get to the place where you'll see that we got. So that's how I come to be here, having this brief conversation with you all. And I am just really excited to be able to do this with you. There's a couple of things, so I'm going to be sharing back and forth about the experience that I had and that I continue to have here in Fergus Falls. We're going to talk about some of the strategies and skills that you may think about cultivating for yourself and your team, and then also have a little bit of a chance to actually practice a little bit of this. So let's see what we can do in 40 minutes, shall we? So I am not going to talk about myself again because I've done that already. So collaboration, right off the bat, I would love to invite you all to visit this website, and I believe Harlan was going to paste it into the chat so that you all could have easy access to it. Just click. And so if you would go there, this is going to take you maybe 3 minutes to do this self-assessment. Maybe it'll take you 5. So we'll give you a total of 5 minutes to get to there and complete the self-assessment. And then we'll come back and do a little bit of conversating about what's your style when it comes to collaborating. And if you have problems, just wave me down.
Victoria, do you want to read out the link for those folks who are on
Absolutely.
their phone only?
Yes, so you're going to want to go to 100, the number 100 open.com/collab-test. 100.com/collab-test. Nope, you do not need to put your results in anything. We're going to just be able to talk about these in a moment as soon as everybody's done. So hold on to your test results because we will be chatting about them briefly once I know everybody is about done. Let's give it one more minute, everybody. So of course, I can't see everyone, but I am hopeful that most of us have been able to get through it. If not, let me know. Okay, so what I'm going to invite us to do now that you hopefully have your results in front of you is we're going to, Harlan is going to work some Zoom magic in the background and put us into pairs. And what I would love for you to do is see these two questions on the screen in front of you, what surprises you or stands out to you about your assessment results, and how you can use this knowledge to enable collective impact. So I want you to consider those two questions. Harlan's going to put us into pairs, and I would like for you to just have this brief conversation. 5 minutes is all we're going to be in these breakouts for. So it's just enough time to really debrief what it is that you are thinking right now. You don't have to put a ton of thought into it. What surprises you, and how do you think you can use this information? Those are our two questions. Whenever you're ready, Harlan, unless there are questions from anybody. And these are going to be some random breakouts. So you may or may not know who you're going to be with. So please take the time to introduce yourself and let them know where you're from. That would be probably very helpful. So when you're ready, Harlan.
Everybody should be getting invitations now.
Beautiful. See you in a few. Will people on phones get to join as well? I never know how that works.
I believe that should be possible. Yes, I'm not seeing the barrier
Okay.
right off the bat. In fact, it looks like we've got a phone participant who has been able to join the breakout.
Oh, beautiful.
Harlan, looks like we have a couple people still not in a room yet.
Yep, I'm working on that for those folks.
I'm standing again, Barb.
I thought about raising my desk so I can.
Hey,
move a
hey,
little.
sorry to interrupt. I've got room number 1 asking for some assistance, and I also have some people who are yet to join the breakout room. So if it's all right, I'll send someone into room one of the two of you into room 1
Sure.
Yeah.
to help facilitate that. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Yep, go for it.
Excellent. 1 second.
Hi, Erin. Are you having trouble?
I went into my breakout room and nobody responded. It showed Anna Lee, but no response. So I just went out of it. So
Okay.
I'm going to move you to another room if that's all right with you.
that's fine.
All righty, here we go.
Thanks, Harlan.
Yeah. My pleasure. Looks like we still have a couple folks. If you're still in the main session and you're having some trouble, don't hesitate to let me know.
How much time is left on the breakouts?
Couple minutes.
Couple minutes.
I went into the room one you sent me to. There was one person there on the phone and the phone was muted, so I wasn't sure how to undo that. And then I got kicked out.
I've got you. I've been moving some people around to pair them up after I've seen who is not responsive. So I think everybody is in a room now.
Great.
And Barbara, I tried to bring you back to the main session.
I'm here.
Yeah.
You got me.
Wonderful. I think everyone should be paired. There are some rooms that are that feature some inactive participants, it looks like, but everybody should be at least have one pair.
Okay. Well, that's collaborating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not everybody is at the same level of engagement.
And we should get a 60-second warning. We should all get a 60-second warning when we're
Okay.
before we come back.
Awesome.
Maybe it would be helpful to mention that if people do enter a room where there's where they're not still, they've been given 60 seconds here to come back. So that's our 60-second warning. So I will hold on to that idea.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully that's everybody coming back. So what I would love to be able to do right now is to just one or two of you maybe share what your thoughts were as you were able to engage with your partner. What seemed to strike you about the findings that from your assessment? And you can just say it.
I think we only have 8 people back in the main room right now.
Oh, okay. I can't
wanna-
see everybody yet.
Oh, they're
Wait,
coming. Here they come.
here they're coming.
Okay. You're good.
Oh, okay. I was ahead of the game. Shocker. So what I would love to do right now is to invite one or two of you to share your thoughts on your collab test. What was surprising to you? What might you reject out of hand? How you might use this information with your collaborators for housing. And you can just shout it out, your thoughts.
I'll share mine. So I came back as cultivator and producer. I wasn't surprised by those results. So I was okay with those results. As far as how we can utilize it in our coalition, I really feel that we've got a lot of different perspectives at our table. And so really helping to understand everybody's perspectives and lead people towards a common goal is going to be super important for our coalition to be successful.
Nice. Thank you, Annette. Someone else, share what surprised you and how you think you can use this information.
Hello, I will go. My name is Gabby and I'm from the city of Preston. My role here is EDA director, and my result was an activator, which I was not surprised by. I think in my role, people would expect me to be a bit of an activator and more of the project management organizer type, so I guess I wasn't too surprised. And I loved the point that they said about meetings and making sure that they're productive and not just meetings about meetings. A little bit of that verbiage in there, which I can appreciate. So I think, moving forward, just remaining more of that project management. Like we also have a lot of different voices at the table. So just making sure that I'm helping everybody have their input included in our plans moving forward is important.
Mm, thanks, Gabby. We might have time for one more share. Who wants to do that?
This is Phil Bibbing. I can do that. Being none of those attributes, I was the explorer and influencer, and surprises, none. That didn't surprise me at all because my background as an engineer and solving problems, that would be the explorer, and probably some of my other background through my career as far as the influencer. So what I learned from that is I just need to make sure that I draw out all the opinions and listen carefully. And I've already been surprised a few times so far in this process, as far as, oh, I didn't think of that. And so that's been healthy to build a large team with a diverse background to help us define our plans going forward.
Nice. Thanks, Phil. So we had quite a few represented in the styles, which is nice to hear. Whilst the folks who shared may not all be on the same team, we probably all have different folks on our team who might represent each of these style preferences. And the thing to remember about a style is that it is something that you can put on and you can take it off. So perhaps you may show up most of the time as an activator. I use activator because that's what I show up as most of the time, is an activator. And then there are times though when we need to be able to don a different style, right? To be more explorative, to be more of a connector, to be more of a cultivator and grow some things. So building up all of those attributes into who you are and how you show up on your team is part of the self-awareness piece that is so crucial when we're working with other people, particularly from different backgrounds. And as the professionals in the room, you may be engaging with people who may think similar to you or who don't think similarly to you, who have similar backgrounds or don't have similar backgrounds. Or you may be working directly with people who are different from you, who are racially diverse, who are religiously diverse, who are sexually diverse. And so being able to recognize what your tendency is and how you tend to show up can help you become more flexible when it comes to who it is that you are working with. And in order to get those voices to the table, right, there's this saying, nothing for us without us. So if we want to do something that is going to help people in our community, particularly people in our community who are maybe Black and brown skinned, being able to connect with folks, even if you are an explorer, being able to connect and figure out how to do that really tough work in order to get those people to the table so that you have you're making informed decisions about what it is that people want to see in your community. It can't always just be about what I think. What I think is great until I bump up against somebody who's thinking is not like mine. And then we have to figure out how to coalesce and make things happen together. And so that's that on that. And that's really just an opportunity to highlight what it requires in order to make a collective impact. We have to know our roles. We have to be able to have a shared and common agenda. What is it that we are here to do together? Typically what we've been doing, if you've done this work for any amount of time, is we've been having some great isolated impacts, where we are finding and funding a particular solution within a single organization. When we combine that, find that funding with some hope that the most effective organizations will grow and replicate to extend that impact more widely. And we know that that is just an inefficient way of delivering for impact and designing for impact. So collective impact is a commitment of the group of actors from different sectors to a common agenda for solving a specific social problem using a structured form of collaboration. We are talking about having that collective, that common agenda where we are sharing it, a vision for change, one that includes a common understanding of the problem and a joint approach to solving it through agreed upon actions. We're talking about shared measurement, where we're developing a system that is essential to collective impact. Agreement on common agenda is nothing without an agreement on the ways that success will be measured and reported, right? So that is critical. And then we have to have some mutually reinforcing activities. Collective impact initiative depend on a diverse group of stakeholders working together, not by requiring that all participants do the same thing, but by encouraging each and every participant to undertake the specific set of activities that it excels at in a way that supports and is coordinated with the actions of others. So it's not like you got to be everything and do everything. Do what you're good at. Make sure that you have at the table people who are better at other things so that you have all of the spots filled and can have that collective impact. Then we're going to look at continuous communication and developing trust amongst each other. Participants have to be able to, they need several years sometimes of regular meetings to build up enough experience with each other to recognize and appreciate the common motivation behind the different efforts and the different styles of getting things done. And then finally, we need a backbone organization. A backbone organization is the one that's creating and managing the collective impact. It requires a separate organization and staff with a very specific set of skills. Coordination takes time, and none of the organizations typically who are participating in a collective impact strategy have time to spare. So the expectation that collaboration can occur without some sort of supporting infrastructure is one of the most frequent reasons why these things fail. And so the backbone organization requires some dedicated staffing to make that happen. And in my example of the Fergus Falls DEI community, we had the local education cooperative has been our backbone organization because they had the capacity and they had the resources to do to make sure that the communications were going out periodically, making sure that the meetings were scheduled, making sure that people were getting reminders, those small things that seem like a whole lot to do if nobody is doing them. So we had that. We had regular meetings for over a year, and it's so true when they say it, you can meet for years before you start to understand one another enough that you are not questioning intent, that we're looking at really at impact of our actions together. So being able to be a little bit fluid about how you show up to engage, knowing what it is that you do well and doing that as part of the common agenda, and having some way of shared way of measuring success are the crucial pieces for collective impact to really work, if that makes sense. There are lots of different ways that we can engage our community. We can look at exploring things, to encourage people in groups to learn more about themselves or the community or the issue that you are trying to present. Housing, we want affordable housing. How do you help people explore and understand how that will impact their lives? That's what exploration is all about. There's conflict transformation. People don't want certain things in their backyard, or they don't want multi-family units in their neighborhood. And we have to be able to talk about that stuff. We have to be able to talk about the assumptions that are underneath those kinds of statements. What is it that you mean you don't want that there? For what reason? What's particularly got you distressed or disturbed about it? And to be curious about those things when people are saying that. And then we have to be able to make some decisions. And consensus is a great way to make some decisions. And you're unable to always use consensus decision making, but it is the goal, is to make sure that people can get behind whatever it is that you're doing. Does that mean that you have a unanimous, full-throated support? Maybe not, but if we can get behind it, that's what you want when you're talking about decision making. And then we take action. I'm going to skip a little bit of this because I would like us to do this really, really badly. Can everybody get across this bridge in 15 minutes? Harlan's going to put us into some groups. I'm going to paste those statements. 4 people come to a river in the middle of the night. There's a narrow bridge, but it can only hold 2 people at a time. They have 1 torch, and because it's night, the torch has to be used when crossing the bridge. Person A can cross the bridge in 1 minute, B in 2 minutes, C in 5 minutes, and D in 8 minutes. When 2 people cross the bridge together, they must move at the slower person's pace. So I'm going to put this into the chat, what I just read, so that you have it at your disposal when you get into your breakouts. And your breakouts are going to be by community. So you'll be with your team, and we want you to be able to do this collaborative exercise together. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes to work this logic puzzle out as a group. Think about your style when it comes to collaborating. See if you can recognize what other people's styles are, how you work together to solve this problem. I'm going to do that right there. Can't talk and type at the same time. All right, do we have questions about this activity? It's a logic puzzle. You're going to have to talk to one another and figure out how to get everybody across in 15 minutes or less. And I'm only going to give you 10 minutes to do it. Harlan, when you're ready, I didn't hear any questions.
Here we go.
Poof, poof, poof. It's like magic.
Yeah, 9.5 minutes here and counting. I'm gonna jump into the rooms and see if I can't post this script into the room, into the breakout room.
Oh, okay, okay. So it doesn't show up if I paste it in there?
I'm not sure, but I wanted to double check and make sure.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, you can take your chat window and move it off, to the side or onto another screen, but I'm not sure if everybody has, certain capabilities.
Right.
Harlan, we still have Gabby and Tom and Kathy and Gassan.
I just messaged Harlan because it wants to take me to Owatonna, but I'm Preston, so I didn't know if I should.
I thought I set it up so you could choose, but here, let me take a look and see if I can't resend the invite. This is Gabby, correct?
Yes. I mean, I love new people, but
and you even put the name of your team in your community, which that should have told me everything I needed to know. There we go. You should see that shortly.
Here we go. Thank you.
I'm in the same boat. You were going to put me in Preston, and will you put me in with Lanesboro, please? This is Kathy Enerson.
You bet. Just 1 second here and I'll get you swapped over. Lanesboro, you said, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Here you go.
And we have Tom and Gassan as well.
They should both be in the correct room. I'm double checking that right now. They should both have invites to the correct room. Are either of you with us?
Oh, maybe they're phone and computer people.
They're both on mute. So maybe they're working on 2 things at a time.
Yeah, I think that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
It wants me to go to Owatonna. Okay, Gabby, I am on it here.
Boop, boop.
So I had a question, but I didn't know if it would give anything away or not. So,
What?
I mean, obviously, well, I mean, I think it's obvious that people are going to have to go across the bridge and then come back and escort another person with them.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
they're still going to need, they're going to need that torch.
They are. Gotta have the torch every time you cross. Have you solved it?
No. I'm still a few minutes off.
The answer is you leave person D behind, right? Is that?
We leave no one behind. Everybody goes. How funny.
There's noise outside my house.
Yeah. I'm so tired of this deep cold. I want a little bit of warmth in the air.
Yeah, I did not mention the cold in the introduction because I think people are just so tired of it.
Yeah, I'm just like, I've got the window open, just a little tiny breeze coming in, but
Are you ready for another visit to Arizona?
I am. I need to go somewhere. Somewhere's warm and sunny and comfortable to be outside. And that's not Minnesota right now. Darn it.
Victoria, you come from Hardy Stock. I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
You can handle this.
Yes, I just would rather. I would rather not handle it. I'd rather have an alternative strategy.
Yep.
We are at 5 minutes, just so I'm
Okay.
transparent here.
Thank
And
you.
just to make sure, I will be monitoring the chat for the rest of the presentation for questions, and I'll make sure and forward those to you, Victoria.
Oh,
But
okay.
This should be our last. This should be our last breakout activity, correct?
Yep. We're
Awesome.
gonna wrap right on up and try and keep you at your 3 o'clock. I don't know. We probably won't because people will be getting back about 3, but
Well, we'll do the best we can.
we'll do.
If they need to leave, they can leave and they can rejoin and or review the recorded episode.
Yeah, which I am recording, so I'll make sure to get that up and uploaded, and make sure to provide links to everybody, and including both of you.
Thanks. Did you take the collab test?
You know, I've been providing assistance to people. I did not get a chance to take the collab test, but I do want to revisit it after the event when I have a little bit more time.
Yeah. You took it, Barb?
I did.
And how did you show up?
What do you think I showed up as?
An activator?
Nope.
No? Okay. What did you show up as? An influencer?
A producer.
Oh, well, yeah, that too. I mean, yeah, you are a producer, but I think you're an influencer too.
I was, it was really pretty close on a lot of them. Producer, cultivator, explorer.
Huh.
I think my lowest one was influencer, and
Really?
connector, and activator. Yeah.
Well, you're so influential in my life
Same Z.
that I just attribute that to you. Okay. It's the truth. It's funny. Last Wednesday when they were like, "How do you know Victoria?" I'm like, "She's the reason I'm back in Minnesota." That's how we know. Yeah. I wonder if anybody will get it. I hope somebody gets it.
Yeah, I have never been good with like math problems like this. I think there's a glitch in my brain. I mean, you can give me numbers on a pro forma and I'm fine, but if you start asking train A is going to station 1 and passes train B that's going to station Z, and how much time does it take a dog to eat 16 Oreos before it can cross the tracks or something like that? I forget it. I complete
Done
failure
deal.
with that.
Okay.
We're at about a minute and a half. Let's
Okay.
see here. So obviously person A's got to cross twice. So that means, or do they?
Do they? Mm-hmm.
My
It-
brother is a math doctor.
Is that right?
Yeah, he got all the math skills in the family. That's
Wow.
for sure.
Yeah. I never put the answers on a slide. Ever. Isn't that terrible? I think it's terrible, but I never do. It's interesting when you get to do this in person though, because you just wander around the room and just
Right.
listening to the conversation that people are having as they're trying to figure it out. You can absolutely see how the team, what stage of development the team is in. And you can see how well they communicate or how poorly they communicate. You can see how inclusive they are. Are we bringing all voices in? Or is somebody dominating the conversation and the strategy?
Mhm.
Just a side note, when we do, actually, I'll hold on to this thought too, because we've got 10 seconds. Oh, I'm sorry. We've got 120 bonus seconds here.
Oh,
But I think I can make the rooms open and selectable. So perhaps, Barbara, in the future, we'll ask people to select their specific team.
You'll have to show me how to do that. I haven't I haven't paid attention to that feature.
Cool.
See a few people coming back.
Will you give me a high sign when everybody appears to be back, Barb?
I will.
You're like the only person that I can see.
Absolutely. I'll give you a signal.
Okay.
60 seconds.
Awesome.
Is this a good signal?
Yes.
Okay, cool. 30 seconds.
I can read that sign.
Perfect.
I'm going to share something with you that you can look at after the session. I'll send it to your phone.
Okie dokie. Artichoke.
All right, everyone should be joining back in here. I'd give it maybe 5 seconds.
Okay. All right. Welcome back. So I am curious, who solved this puzzle? Who solved it? I'm so curious. What city rules the logic puzzle land?
I think we figured it out in Lewiston.
Yeah, tell me.
We want to take that person D who takes 8 minutes. We want to have them go halfway out and plant them in the middle of the bridge with a torch. And then the other ones cross one at a time while person D is using the torch. And then so person D finishes the rest of the way. So person D is going to split their time and total 8 minutes. And then C crosses in 5 minutes, which is 13, B in 2.
No, so we sent the 5 minute and the 8 minute at the same time. The 8 minute stops in the middle of the bridge holding the lantern. So the first one across finishes in 5 minutes. Then the 2 minute one can go across, that's 7 minutes. The 1 minute can go across, that's 8 minutes. The 8 minute person can finish, which is another 4 minutes. And it's in 12 minutes that they all get across.
That would be so amazing if they had light the whole way.
But they're holding the torch in the center of it. That's what
Yeah, that was a nice try though. I like it. But no, that is not the solution. At least not one of the solutions that I have. Okay. Okay. Who else wants to give it a go?
Well, we're going to get disqualified too, because we're going to build 3 more torches while the first one was crossing, or 2 more torches. So
you tried. You all are thinking outside of the boxes. I like that. Who's going to put you in a box? Nobody.
that's right.
Nobody's going to put you in a box. Okay, I like it. Anybody else have a different strategy that includes the torch being used each time we cross all the way?
I'm gonna throw it out there and be super brave that I think that the people are on different sides of the river.
Oh. Well, they wind up getting to the different side of the river, but they're all starting from the same place. And what happens is A and B cross with the torch and B stays over there. That's 2 minutes down. A goes back over to the other side. C and D go over with the torch, hand it to B. C and D stay on the other side where we need them to be. B goes back over, picks up A, and they cross back. So A goes.
Ron.
Well, it's obvious.
Yeah, Ron, you were so close, Ron.
So it does happen. It does work out. But A winds up going twice, and B winds up going twice. And C and D go together because they are the longest. They take the longest. So good job. The reason that I select this activity, and it's even more fun when it's in person, is because you can see a lot about a team based on how they solve this puzzle, right? We can see how you communicate. We can see conflict. We can see inclusivity. We can see exclusivity. We can see what stage your team is at when it comes to stages of team development. Are you forming? Are you storming, norming, or performing? You can see all of that in an activity like this. What is it that you all were feeling as you were going through this exercise?
Constrained by the rules.
Yes, there were some limitations, right? And they were put in there on purpose. So that would definitely constrain some of your activities. What else?
Couldn't see the obvious.
Oh, the forests and the trees, right? As I was reading it, you probably were like, oh, that makes so much sense, right? The solution?
Yeah, or we didn't work the solution all the way to the end of it. It's like we were there, we had it, but we just didn't work it all the way to the very end of it.
Ah, which community are you representing?
I was with Ron. I'm an MHP staff, so I should maybe stop talking. But yeah, I was with Ron's team.
Okay. Yeah. So the point of it all is that it takes some practice in order to have, you know, good communication, the ability to engage and transform conflict into something that is useful energy. And it takes being able to see what might or might not be obvious to you, but it may be obvious to somebody else on your team, right? And if we're able to listen to one another, we might hear that nugget that said, hey, try this one. And sometimes it's a really small voice that says, try this one. Are we missing that small voice? And sometimes there's just, we don't have that piece. Somebody has to be good with logic at the table in order for this to work. Well, somebody might have to be good with a completely different skill set. Somebody might have to be the numbers person. I'm not the numbers person. Somebody else has to do it. If I did not have the answers, I would not get the answers to this logic puzzle. I'll be so honest. And the first time that it was presented to me, we sat for 10 minutes and we had a nice conversation, but we did not solve this puzzle. So you're not alone in that you were unable to solve it. It's not an unsolvable puzzle, but 10 minutes usually just isn't enough time to get to it. And that's on purpose too. It's by design, so don't feel badly. In order to, I want to quickly get through the rest of this. We're about done. In order to get through to collective impact, it takes some time and it takes some staging. As you can see, we did in the community of Fergus Falls quite a few things over a period of years in order to get people involved, not just the students who are having poor experiences, but the staff, the faculty, the community members, the counselors, the city council members. I mean, it took a while for us to get to a place of diffusion where everyone was talking about racial equity and what does it mean to belong? What does it mean to make sure that the invitation that we're sending out says both you're come here and you're welcome here, not just come here and then join us and do things the way we say it should be done. Come, bring you have, and let's create a new community together is really what we wound up doing with the work that we've been doing in Fergus Falls over the past several years. And that work is continuing this year, even though 2020 was a hot mess. We got to the Equity Summit, and after that, everything basically got shut down with COVID. So we didn't really do much in 2020 at all, but we're picking it back up this year. And we are meeting regularly again to continue adapting and diffusing and taking what we learn together out into our places of influence. Everyone is an influencer when it comes to collective impact, if that makes sense. And so there are some benefits, of course, of being able to work across sectors, being able to awaken yourself and build your own awareness, to create and develop some shared experiences, which helps us to create stronger relationships, which help create better communities, right? And then examining and building skills that are necessary to do the work of equity, to do the work of ensuring that everyone can fully participate and contribute to our communities is the goal. What kind of questions, as I rushed through that a little bit for you, do I have questions?
Victoria, in your work with Fergus Falls, what was the one piece that the collaborative had the hardest time working through?
The hardest piece was really pacing, going at a pace that didn't leave people behind, and also going at a pace that didn't make people who were in a different place developmentally want to just throw their hands up in the air and run screaming out the door. Being able to set expectations that were really clear about what it is that we were hoping to do together, and getting agreements to being in this collaborative relationship together, and how we would show up with one another, particularly it got to be challenging or contentious, which it did, right? Because we don't all see things the same way. Some people don't believe that there's racism in small communities. That's just a fact that people believe that. And so if that's how you think, and someone is telling you, well, actually, my experience is this, and I'm experiencing it, that the disequilibrium that comes along with that, the dissonance, the discomfort that comes along with that. So we couldn't outpace, as much as everybody really wanted to just get together and do the work, do the work, do the work, we couldn't do the work at such a rapid pace that we would leave people behind who really needed to be part of the conversation, who really had some things that they needed to contribute, that we needed to hear, that they needed to hear. And so that has been the biggest challenge, is pacing. What else?
So what kind of opportunities and challenges do you see kind of next? I know, like you said, 2020 was a hot mess and we're kind of all putting that behind us, but as you're going forward, what's next in your initiative?
What's next is looking at is a policy community of practice where we've done, if you're familiar at all with the IDI, the Intercultural Development Inventory, we started with that back in 2018 and doing this individual work. And now we want to get to the organizational level. And so we're looking at different policy frameworks that will allow us to assess our policies and our practices and procedures, and look for, that the language that seems neutral, but that really isn't neutral, right? And so how do we make sure that we are not creating barriers for people when they come into our city building, our county building, our grocery stores? We're not making it so that people feel like I shouldn't be here. So we're looking at that part next. Mm-hmm.
And how, just another question, how did you, were there ways that you found that you could learn from what other communities went through? Were there other examples you could look to help?
So oddly enough, when we started this back in 2017, we started doing this work together. We were looking at the work of the Poverty Institute and their little anti-poverty work that was an easier way to get into. It was easier to talk poverty than it was to talk racial equity and discrimination. So being able to introduce that language, we saw that from other communities, the Poverty Institute route that we chose to go, and that was very helpful. There were not many communities, and I don't believe that there still are, that are doing the work that we're doing from the ground level, of really taking our time to build the relationships that can tolerate and withstand some of the contentiousness that is present when we start talking about racial inequity and what's built into the fabric of our nation and things of that nature. And so it just takes time. And even though others are doing things that are similar, no two communities are going to be doing this stuff alike, because none of us have the same types of backgrounds. I mean, I come at it with different experiences than my colleagues come at it, and it just winds up being something beautiful when you allow folks to show up as they are, with the questions, with the uncertainty, with what can be really clumsy and clunky, right? And just show up and stick with it, despite how clumsy and clunky it is. Yeah. Well, I saw a chat thingy. If nothing else, I would turn it back over to Barbara.
Thank you, Victoria. That was extremely useful information, and we've really enjoyed hearing your experience in Fergus Falls as well. It really helps put context around content. So with that, I would like to invite everybody to unmute their microphone, and let's give Victoria a big round of applause. Now, before you go, please click on the survey link in the chat box for the session evaluation. And we'd really like to get these questions answered from you before you go. It'll take you 3 to 5 minutes to do. And it's so important to have this information. MHP utilizes this information to learn from the Housing Institute participants. It helps us to continually improve our program. Also, we will see you back here on March 16th, the next third Thursday of the month Housing Institute session, where Shannon Sweeney from David Drown Associates will provide a lot of really good information on specific tools that can be utilized by local governments for housing development. Just another example of collaboration and how pulling in multiple organizations and people into the mix can bring more resources to the table. So we're really looking forward to that conversation and hope you join us on March 16th. Thank you so much for attending.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.